Now it's time for Glow with Markette Sheppard, a show where talk enlightens and inspires you to glow through life, instead of going through the life, just to get by. Hosted by Emmy award-winning TV host and best-selling author Markette Sheppard. Listen now for insightful conversations featuring celebrities and thought leaders. Call in to share your story live on air. Are you ready for a glow up? Your journey towards enlightenment starts right now.
Hi, I'm Markette Sheppard. I'm the host of The Glow Show, and I'm here to inspire you to live a better life. This show is brought to you by glowstreamtv.com. You can go there to hear, watch, and listen to more podcasts and inspiring movie interviews and just great content. You can also support this podcast by following Glowstream TV on social media and Facebook at Glowstream TV. I'm also on social media at Markette Sheppard. Let's talk about the healing power of movies and entertainment. They're an escape from everyday life. And as we enter the holiday season, I thought I'd recap some of my favorite film interviews with celebrities from my career as a film critic and entertainment reporter. Now, the first film I recommend you watch over the holiday season is Marshall, starring the late, great Chadwick Boseman. I'm so honored to have gotten to meet him right after Black Panther. And it was just like, I couldn't even believe I was in the room with him. And he was so cool and chill and laid back. He was also battling cancer and very thin. But the world didn't know it at that time. And I picked up, I'm an empath, so I kind of picked up on a sense of uneasiness with him, and I didn't know what it was. And I didn't know if it was me or the environment, but I said something was there that I didn't know what was going on. And then later when it came out that he had passed away of cancer, I said, that was it. He was battling cancer while on this movie tour to promote this film. I mean, what a class act. No one knew. He just showed up to work while fighting for his life. The film Marshall was directed by Reginald Hudlin. He's a big name in Hollywood. He directed the Emmys during the pandemic. And the film is about a court case in the early life of the first African-American Supreme Court Justice, Thurgood Marshall. And why I like this film and I recommend it is because it proves that you can win and overcome immense odds when it seems like the whole world is against you. Take a listen to this little snippet of my interview with Chadwick and Reggie.
This case will show the world if a color man can get a fair trial in the United States.
There's only 13 million Negroes depending on you.
Don't any of you have any confidence in me?
I'd say you have enough confidence for us all.
It's a whodunit, it's a buddy movie. Obviously, it's a courtroom drama. So it has a lot of elements that you can play with and you don't have to worry about this being a biopic.
I think it must have been a treat for you, Reggie, to direct and produce this film because you just have your recent Emmy winner, Sterling K. Brown, another hot actor alongside Chadwick. Tell me about the making of this movie and the incredible talent that was on the set.
I felt so fortunate to have the cast that I had. I feel like it was a murderer's row. Chadwick Boseman, Josh Gad, Sterling Brown, Dan Stevens, Kate Hudson, James Cromwell. These are all world-class actors.
Another world-class actor is Lupita Nyong'o, and I had the immense pleasure of interviewing her while she was on tour for her film, The Queen of Katwe. This is a great family film if you're looking for something to watch with every generation of your family. You're gonna enjoy this because it's about a little girl in a rural African town who becomes a chess champion. And while everyone is doubting her abilities, she is winning game after game after game to ascend to worldwide notoriety. Now, walking into a room and interviewing Lupita was like another one of those moments where I'm like, oh God, how did I end up here? I'm happy I'm here, but I don't know how I ended up here. I was taken aback by her calmness. She was humble. She was soft-spoken. I felt like I was meeting with the queen. And I remember telling her, I wish I had brought you a gift or something, from my town to let you know how much I appreciate you. And she's like, oh, please, no, come on. It's just me. And I was just like, okay. But I gathered up my senses to ask her some questions about how she came to the role. And what's interesting is it's an interview where you can gain something from the movie about beating the odds. But also Lupita talks about how she started out as a lowly production assistant for the director of this film a decade prior, before she had reached worldwide fame as an actress. And that work as a production assistant came to pay off when the director was looking for the star of this film. Take a listen. I read in the New York Times that you were a production intern for the director of this film.
I was.
Talk about coming full circle.
I know, yeah. I interned for Mira at Mirabai Films when she was cutting The Namesake. So I was a post-production intern. I spent a lot of time in her office, getting her tea, making her comfortable. I definitely saw early cuts of the film. And then a year later, I was in Uganda working on her film lab, Maisha, as a production coordinator. And I ended up in one of the films, and that was 10 years ago. And so now I get to be in front of her camera and get to work with her as an actor. And it's something that I've always wanted to do. And I'm so happy that it was this, that took me back home, essentially, to tell a homegrown story.
This next interview features a talk I had with the one and only Gerard Butler. He was just coming off of producing a film that he also starred in called Hunter Killer. So I talked to him about his role as a leader in the film and an actor, and about how he had many different jobs leading up to his career in acting. So for me, it's very aspirational because, we have many different acts in life. Gone are the days where you go to work and you just stay in one job until retirement. And Gerard Butler is one of those people who has pivoted beautifully in life, and he's at the top of his game after having entered acting later in life. He was a lawyer. He's done all kinds of different jobs before that. So he's a real down-to-earth, cool guy. I talked to him about that and the movie, which is an action suspense thriller. It's perfect if you have people in your family who love an adrenaline rush. Hunter Killer also stars music artist turned actor Common. And it's about a Navy captain who leads his crew on a dangerous submarine mission through troubled Russian waters. Take a listen.
Torpedoes in the water!
They fired at us?
In the back, those best bearings, 190 and closing!
Pilot, take her to manual, left full rudder, all ahead flank. Launch evasion devices.
Give them new coordinates.
Snapshot. Prepare to fire tube 1 on the bearing of enemy contact.
Ship ready! Solution ready! Weapon ready!
Match sonar bearings and fire.
I loved this movie. And I think it was because the suspense and the tension was building the entire way. Tell me about what it was like on set. Did you also feel the suspense and the tension?
Absolutely. Once we prepared the ground with the sets that we built, they were so authentic, and then we rehearsed the scenes to make sure that even the smallest player knew exactly his job, what he was doing, what he was saying. There was no messing around. It was like, where are you right now? Where do you have to move on battle stations? What do you have to say? So there was truth throughout the whole thing, mixed with this incredibly taut, beautifully crafted script that brings you right into that drama, that when you were living it and doing it, you were in it. Like we would do, and we have a gimbal, so the set's moving as we go through these torpedo chases and we dive, and that we would finish those takes, and they're long takes. So sometimes it was like a play when normally scenes are a lot shorter, but between the tension and the action breaking out and running through and avoiding and moving over here, and then everything slows down, and time you finish, you're breathless, you have goosebumps, and we would look at each other like, wow.
You knew you were doing something special.
Yeah, and that's just there. Then once you have time to start editing, cutting your shots, cut outside the sub, and get the whole big picture, you knew you're on to a winner.
Now, I read that you met with government officials to prepare for this film. What did you learn about submarines, being underwater, most people's biggest fears, and some of the toughest jobs in the world that helped you play this role so well?
Well, we trained with the Navy, so the commanders and all the crew from the subs and the technical advisors, and I went underway for 3 days from Pearl Harbor. We were submerged, and we went through all these drills. And as you're doing that, and also as you're filming, because we had the advisor, the commander with us the whole time, so you start to climb into that mindset, that pressure, that decision-making process. It was described to me by somebody as when you're the commander, you're basically God. And that's in a good way and a bad way, because it means you can make, there's no boss checking on you. You're cut off from command, and you own the world. But that also means that if you make a mistake, you destroy the world. So the accountability and the pressure. So then if you, on top of that, give the plot that we have, where you're going into an awful situation and the dilemmas that they're facing from moment to moment, you try playing God in that situation with the crew who don't think you're God. Actually, they think maybe you're Satan, and so does the other side. So there's all these differing, but within very tight confines of idea, parameters of what is right and what is wrong. It's not like you have these big crazy characters. They're all in it together, but there's just different ideas of what's going to get us through. So as an audience, you're glued to these moments, from moment to moment, all through the movie, so you're just gripping the edge of your seat.
Was that your first time in a submarine when you went under?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I read that you trained to be a lawyer. You can sing, you can surf, you can act. Is there anything that scares you or that you feel like you're not good at?
I could do the first two. I don't know about the acting part, but by the way, a lot of things scare me. Press junkets scare me. I actually get easily scared. The difference is about whether you just still do it. I had to stand at the Pentagon yesterday and talk to the press. I was scared, but I did it. And I think that's the challenge of life. That's what this movie is. This crew are scared, but they do it. And I saw this. Somebody sent me coincidentally a thing the other day, and it was one of the teachers from the Navy SEALs talking about the Navy SEALs and saying the ones that get through are not the biggest guys and not the guys tattooed. They weren't the college athletes. They're the guy shivering with fear. But they're the guy that even when he's shivering with fear, he'll help his friend and he'll help his team. And that's it. So it's all right to be fearful, but it's about driving through anyway. Which I think.
And in my next interview, you learn that not only is it all right to be fearful, it's also all right to be fearless. And this talk is with Amy Schumer for her movie, I Feel Pretty. It's about a woman who's a little bit delusional, and her inner beauty is the only thing that matters. It doesn't matter what's going on the outside. She thinks she is the hottest thing since Naomi Campbell, thanks to a little mental movie magic. And can't we all learn something from that? Love yourself from the inside out. Beauty is only skin deep. Take a listen to my interview when I met with her and her co-star in Washington, D.C. to talk about her new film and the amazing chemistry between Amy and her multicultural cast.
I have a crazy idea. Let's be honest for a minute. No matter how many times we hear, it's what's on the inside that matters. Women know deep down, it's what's on the outside that the whole world judges.
Are you okay? You hit your head pretty hard.
Wait, that's me. That's me. Oh my God, you see this?
Yes?
I'm beautiful!
This would be quite a large promotion for you. What are your goals exactly?
I get it.
And yes, modeling is an option for me.
It reminded me so much of A Devil Wears Prada with train wreck mixed into it.
Great.
But more inclusive and multicultural.
Great question. That's literally my favorite question of all press so far. I think we're all learning so much in these last couple of years and opening our eyes and realizing that it's not enough to just see everyone as equals. Once you see that there's such a disparity and such a lack of inclusivity, it's your job and your responsibility to do your part to lift other people up. If it's people of color, if it's body inclusivity, trans people, people with disabilities. And so we were really excited to get to take part in that in this movie and have that be part of the message, but I think we have so much more to do.
I guess some critics of the film say that there's body shaming involved. When I saw it, I saw someone who got prettier as she got more confident, and obviously, Rory, your character took notice as well. What's the goal?
So yeah, there was some backlash from the trailer, and I just thought, oh, I can't wait for them to see the movie, because it wasn't about me body shaming myself or saying it's a story about a really homely girl who finds confidence. It's about a girl with really low self-esteem.
Are you shopping for a gift?
Kind of browsing for me.
So sizing is a little limited here in the store, but you could probably find your size online.
And that's something that I think we can all relate to. Everyone's had those days or those years, and realizing that her beauty comes from within and who she is as a friend and a person. And I think it's something that everyone can relate to. And so I was really disappointed when that happened, but it made me excited for people to see and realize that there is no body shaming in this movie.
And also come to realize that like lack of self-esteem or low self-esteem is also a theme that's like spread out to numerous characters in the movie.
I noticed in your character, you kind of have some issues as well that we don't usually see in men, but it was nice. It was kind of liberating. Did you kind of also exhale and say, I can just be a regular guy?
Yeah, I feel like I'm pretty close to Ethan as my natural self. Anyways, I think I, like many people, you have these moments of insecurity where you're trying to figure out who you are, especially the older you get. It's a question you're asking more and more. So yeah, I was happy to, I guess, in some ways represent the male side of insecurity and low self-esteem. Yeah, because.
Well, I see confidence, like I said, in your character and in you, but did you have any insecurities in showing your Spanx and baring your belly?
No, those were my choices. The bikini contest scene was written for me to just pose in a bikini, and I said, no, I'm going out and I'm dancing.
DJ, hit it.
And the Spanx moment was a shot I asked for because I wanted this movie to show a real vulnerable, moment that women have, that people have.
And this film has this group date element to it, which I think is good for adults to remember too. Like, it's okay not to be stick thin, and it's okay to go out on group dates with your friends who you love.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, I think that just seems really fun. Like some of my best times where I went to college at Towson, and we would all go out together, like on double or triple dates, just because it's like a good way. It's more fun when your friends are there. My favorite times in college weren't the moments where I was like meeting a dude. It was when you're getting ready to go out with your friends. I think that's the best, the anticipation, not when you come home holding your heels crying.
And I relate to that too. many a night. But I didn't live in Baltimore. I lived here, so I would go up and do stand-up shows in Baltimore and like go as far down as like Richmond.
What did you do in D.C.?
I worked for the IBA, which is a government contracting firm for the Department of Defense, and I was a desktop support specialist, which I really was a secretary. So I would answer the phones, click if people called. I would get supplies, and I did that for my first 3 years of living here.
I did not know that. I've known him for 12 years. Maybe I should have asked you a question.
You've never once asked me anything.
Never asked him a question.
Well,
let's just ease up on that word.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Yeah, he is funny.
I'm looking back at the Capitol, and I can't help but think of your cousin, Senator Chuck Schumer.
I love that. I don't know if I mean, he's my second, whatever. Yes, we are related, and I'm very proud to be related to him. But no, but I don't want to make it sound like, oh, my cousin that I used to play stickball with. It's
I tell everybody you're my cousin. So
good.
Okay.
No,
you guys
please.
are the same age, though.
Yes,
You grew up
Chuck
together.
Schumer and I are the same.
Grew up
we
together.
are the same age. Yes.
Yeah. So I just wanted to know, when you guys get together, is the conversation more political or comical?
It is both, but it's more political. It's we'll just kind of catch up, and he's really supportive. He'll call and wish me luck on something or say congratulations. Never misses a birthday, and but definitely we also talk about things that are important to us as well.
This next interview features young starlet Amanda Stenberg, who many people first remember from the huge film The Hunger Games. She played Rue. Well, she's grown up to be an amazing actress, starring in The Hate U Give, a film that really strikes a chord with the times today. It's about a community who rises up against police brutality. The film is directed by George Tillman Jr., and he's also in this interview. And this is a film that I think can help people heal in a way that it helps you to process what's going on in the world, because we all know that police brutality is an ongoing issue in the United States and around the world. The pandemic and racial tensions in America have been sparked to new levels of awareness. And this film, if anything, will show you different perspectives and help you to process anything that you are struggling with as far as peace and justice and racial reckonings in society. So if you're someone who doesn't like to put your head in the sand and ignore problems, but look at them and analyze them and process them in an effort to heal, then The Hate U Give, which is based on a best-selling book, is a movie for you. And here's my interview with the actress and director.
It's the people versus the police in the feature film The Hate U Give.
Out of the car.
The drama unfolds when a teenage girl, played by Amanda Stenberg, becomes the star witness in a case involving the police shooting of her childhood friend.
Today, Garden Heights is reeling.
It's a narrative all too familiar to the film's director, George Tillman Jr., who says he's had his own encounters with the police, even after achieving success producing some of the most celebrated movies of the past 20 years.
Okay.
Soul Food, Barbershop, Mudbound. Do the police still pull you over? How does that feel?
In '93, I was just working actually as a production assistant. I was actually working for Spike Lee as a production assistant. Every time he comes to Chicago, I didn't have my insurance, my car insurance, and I made a right-hand turn. I was wrong, so I got pulled over, and I thought I was going to get a ticket. But why did they lead me right back to the police station and put me in a cell just for not having my insurance? So I actually had to call my producer, who came and got my insurance, and they got me out. And I was like, I just made a right-hand turn.
I read that you researched Ferguson and Charlotte, lots of racially tense moments in American history for this film. But then I wondered, what did you learn from that research that you didn't already know as a black man living in America?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that I learned the most was that it's a young person movement. A lot of young people were involved in the movement. We had a lot of organizations, especially like from Morehouse in Atlanta. A lot of organizations came down to speak to my crew, and just get us the insight. I just felt like there's a lot of young voices, a lot of educated young people, and a lot of people want change, and that's why you see a lot of different people inside the scenes that we have in the riots, and that's what I learned the most.
You may remember Amanda Stenberg from the blockbuster hit The Hunger Games, where race also took center stage when some angry fans didn't think her character, Rue, should have been black. How was the workspace on this film?
It was incredible. It was one of the most special sets that I've ever been on. There was such a sense of community and purpose, I think because we knew that we were working on something that wasn't just fictional, that wasn't just about entertainment or industry or monetary value, but was about a message and about speaking to the pain and the beauty within our communities.
So Angie Thomas wrote the best-selling novel, which this film is based on. What was it like working with Common, Regina Hall, Anthony Mackie, Russell Hornsby? I mean, greats on the stage and in film.
I was constantly being given a backbone of support and strength through them. I was being given tools and resources, and I knew I could turn to anyone on that set at any point and ask for their help or their support, and they would have my back.
I walked into this film thinking I had it all figured out and that you're not going to change my mind at all. And then there was the scene with Common.
We live in a complicated world.
It doesn't seem that complicated to me.
Tell me about the meaning of that scene and what you want audiences to know.
That's a scene where Common, who plays Carlos, realizes that he himself is, is responsible too for his way of thinking, his way of thought, that possibly that he needs to change. And who challenges that is Star.
All right, so now that we've talked about some great movies from the recent past that you might want to put on your holiday watch list this season, whether you're watching with family, friends, or alone, let's talk about some new movies coming out that you may want to look out for that are really going to be interesting. And for that, I have Cheryl Grant, GlowStreamTV.com's TV and film correspondent. Hey, Cheryl.
Hey, Markette. I have some good stuff to talk about this week in this week's edition of News to Share. First up, we have Will Smith, Idris Elba, and Ryan Gosling are in the spotlight this time around. First up is Will Smith. I'm really excited about his new movie, King Richard, which is coming out this month. And as most know, this is based on a true story. He plays Richard Williams, father and coach of Grand Slam champs Venus and Serena. And he's the one behind their rise to the top. They started from Compton, and where they are today is all because of him. He's known for his non-traditional training methods, and it'll be good to see his side of the story and how it all began. As you know, the Oscar-nominated Will Smith, this is not his first rodeo now playing a character. He played in The Greatest as Ali. So it'll be interesting to see his transformation. I can't wait to see how he transforms and how he brings Richard Williams' character to life. Also, here's a big thing. Beyonce sings. She's on the soundtrack. She has a feature, an original song, Be Alive. So I really can't wait to see this inspiring story. It's a hybrid release, is in theaters and streaming on HBO Max November 19th.
Wow, I'm so excited to see that. Joining us now also is Norma Ramirez, marketing assistant at glowstreamtv.com. I love Will Smith because he does have the power, Cheryl and Norma, to transform. Remember, he was Ali, and when I heard that, I was like, no way, Will's the Fresh Prince is going to transform into Muhammad Ali. But he does that. And then he was a stockbroker, a homeless stockbroker in the pursuit of happiness. And I'm like, wait a minute. How is he going to do this? But when he left his comedic persona as the Fresh Prince, and he did that one movie, 6 Degrees of Separation, I think that set off his dramatic acting career. And now he's also like a superhero in some senses. And he's an action star, really.
He is, and I really think he's going to bring it like he always does. He already looks the part. I've seen the trailer. He's put on some weight for this role. He has a beard. He's wearing those short shorts because, this is sort of a time capsule thing. So, they go way back in the day. So, I mean, he's embodied the entire character and the whole look of King Richard or Richard Williams. So I'm looking forward to it.
Norma, are you planning to watch this?
I am, especially since it's going to be streaming at home. I'm going to catch it on HBO Max. Will Smith is also, I don't know now, but like a couple weeks ago, around October 11th or so, he was filming a movie in New Orleans. So it seems like he's a pretty busy man. I definitely will catch up because I like the stories to see where people came from and stuff like that. So it should be interesting. I enjoyed Tiger Woods' documentary, like how his father raised him and trained him. So I like to see I like a good parenting story.
Me
Yeah.
too. It's so aspirational. And there's more aspirational or inspirational films coming out this fall and winter.
Yes, there are. And I'm really excited to talk about this one. Up next is Idris Elba. Actually, anything Idris is in, I'm excited to talk about. But this film called The Harder They Fall is really cool and a real big deal. This is starring Idris Elba, Regina King in The Harder They Fall. This is a Western and it's produced by Jay-Z. So this is huge. This is his first time doing that. Also, it's being directed by a gentleman named James Samuel. This is his directorial debut. And there's big buzz around this film, mainly because it's an all Black cast and it's a Western, it's a star-studded cast. That includes Idris Elba, Regina King, you have Delroy Lindo, Dion Cole, Damon Wayans, and the list just goes on and on. Very impressive. Now, this is about two rival gangs. One is led by Jonathan Majors, who's one of the characters, and the other is led by Idris Elba, his character. And although this is a fictionalized film, the people they portray are real. It existed. So you sort of get sort of a history lesson in a way, because what they're trying to bring about in this particular film is that we only had one view of what Westerns looked like back in the day. This is the new West. This is the West where the whole town are Black residents, where the mayor of the town is Black, where the sheriff is Black, the people that own the saloons are Black, and the cowboys and the women there are all of color. And so they're trying to bring this story to light. I understand it is going to be a massive. The soundtrack, I understand, is everything. They have a mix of reggae music, Afro beats. There's a song, an original song done by Jay-Z. This is really going to be huge. It's so huge that they've already done a select theater opening. So for about 2 weeks, it's in select theaters, and then it streams on Netflix November 3rd. This is going to be a shoot 'em up, bang, bang kind of thing. So it might be on a little bit on how should I say, the Tarantino kind of films. It's a lot of blood draw, but the story, it seems like it's going to really be good. And I think we can look for some great things to actually come out of this film. So I'm excited to see it.
Wow, that sounds great. You know, I'm from LA originally, and like Black cowboys are huge in LA. And my dad, who is into cowboy culture, shared with me while I was growing up that the reason that they are called cowboys and not cowmen is because, you know, in the Wild Wild West era, cowboys were called that because they were Black. You know, they were Black men who were tasked with herding up all of the cows on the ranch. And it was a derogative term, but they were so cool and they had so much swagger and so much skill that the legend of their work and how they carried themselves just became a mainstream phenomenon. So I love this film because not only is it entertainment, but it's going back to a part of history that's rarely told.
That's true. And I'm looking forward to that. The characters are real. And I think when people see this, they'll have a better appreciation for how things actually were in the West. And I know that Jay-Z is going to bring it. I know they're going to bring it with fashion. Regina King's in it. I've already seen the trailer and it looks really hot. As they would say, it's fire, it's lit. So I really can't wait to check this out. I'm going to round things up on a more positive note, or fun, I should say. Finally, right now, there's word that Ryan Gosling is going to star as Ken in the new Barbie movie. So there's going to be a Barbie movie coming out. Now, what I will say is I loved Ryan Gosling in The Notebook. So I could actually see him maybe as a Ken. He's going to be playing alongside Margot Robbie, who will play a Barbie. So it'll be interesting to see how this works out, how they bring these iconic Mattel dolls to life. So that should be something fun to check out. This theatrical release is not scheduled until 2023, but it's already getting buzz, mainly because Warner Brothers and crew tried to reach out to Ryan Gosling a while ago, and he always had to turn it down because he had other projects going on. So he was finally able to say, hey, I think I can do this. So this is going to take place. And so I'll be interested to see. I'll check it out because of Ryan Gosling. I like him a lot. I think he's a great actor.
I don't know, a Barbie and Ken movie, Norma? What do you think this is going to be?
Since I wanted to be Barbie when I grew up, that's totally at my.
Oh my God, I remember you said that in a previous podcast.
I mean, I just kind of hope he has a scene without his shirt on. I mean, see if it's like the Ken dolls when I was little. That's all.
You're just doing some research on if it's factual.
Research for a blog.
That's right. I think now if he takes the shirt off, if we're going there in The Notebook, that's when I would say really fell in love with Ryan Gosling and his acting. I know he's done a lot of other things since, but I thought he was really good as a romantic lead in that movie. And I think the way they're going with this, it's not going to be a parody or a funny movie. Yes, it'll be Barbie and Ken, but I think they're trying to give a little more meat to it. So I expect it to be more of a rom-com type of movie, but we'll see. It'll be coming out in 2023.
Well, I love a good rom-com. Whenever I just want to veg out and just really kind of lay on the couch, get some popcorn and a cocktail and just disconnect, I'm going towards the rom-com. And I know that during the holiday season, it triggers a lot of emotions for people. When I was a street reporter, I learned from authorities that the holiday season, in all seriousness, is one of the highest times for people who try to take their lives. And something about being around family makes people uncomfortable, or something about the holidays makes people revisit their life and reflect on what went wrong in their lives. And it's hard, the holiday season. So I want to transition from movies and entertainment to healing this holiday season. And I know, Norma, you are planning a blog on this very topic.
Yes, I'm planning it before Thanksgiving because being in recovery, I know people that have lost their lives during the holiday season, whether it be suicide or on accident, because sometimes our families have had enough with us and they can't extend the grace that we need, or there's some kind of turmoil that's keeping everybody from seeing eye to eye. A lot of times it's that people don't have their children, they got them taken away, different reasons. But either way, we have to live one day at a time and we have to get through these things. So we have to acknowledge the risk of places that we're going. It could be the stress that might cause us to want to overeat, because it's not all about using drugs. It could be about you trying to live a healthy lifestyle. You're trying to not overeat. You're trying not to be prideful, all these things that we deal with. So we have to acknowledge the risk factor and figure out, is it because we're going to a non-sober environment? Is it because people are like, it's a stressful environment? Or is it because we're setting unrealistic expectations? We're expecting to get there and everything to go perfect, and then we get there and it's not. Most of our families are not perfect. Most of our families are a little out there. So we have to acknowledge the risk and figure out why is it that we don't want to go. And then we have to have a plan. We have to practice saying no. And we also have to use our support system. We have to have these franchise players on our team that we can call no matter what time. Because sometimes during the holidays, you're alone and you feel lonely and you don't want to reach out to someone because you think that they're busy. Anyone that's your friend or that really cares about you is not too busy to pick up the phone and talk you off of that ledge, whether it be literally speaking or figuratively speaking. Your franchise players are not going to be too busy for you. So reach out to them. If you are going to go to a holiday event, and you know that it gets a little bit crazy towards the end when people have started drinking, show up early. Bring gifts or whatever you have to bring. Show up early. That's when your grandma is going to be there anyway. Show up early and have an exit strategy. If you happen to not show up early, have somebody that you can send a text to and they can get you out of there. Have your little exit plan. Tell them to call you, and whatever story, whatever you come up with, just have an exit strategy or bring someone with you. A lot of times people don't have vehicles because they lost their license because of a DUI or whatever. Uber there, or go there with somebody, or have somewhere else that you have to go. Go to a meeting. Just have something, an exit strategy, and have that person also in your family that you can confide in and be like, look, if you see that I'm looking a little nervous or anxious, say this code word, we'll go outside. Just have an exit strategy and stick to it. Just stick to your plan. Practice saying no before the holidays, and you don't have to lie. No, I cannot make it is a good enough answer. You don't have to give them an excuse or whatever. No, just the word no is an answer by itself.
Ooh, I love that. One of my triggers are corporate holiday parties, because people are coming together and it's like you have to show up or it's a bad look. And so I get anxiety. While I'm good in small groups, I get anxiety in big groups. And the worst corporate holiday parties for me are the ones where you can't bring a significant other. And I guess I've been unlucky enough where I've worked for companies where they never allow you to bring your significant other, and that's my safe person. So you have to walk into the room alone and perform. It's a performance. You have to look good to the boss. You have to make good conversation. You may get something out of this for your career, and it's too much pressure for me. And you mentioned, Norma, having a franchise player, and you wrote this amazing blog on glowstreamtv.com about building your team and knowing the difference between a franchise player and one who is not. So could you explain that for the listeners?
Okay, so your franchise players and your contract players, I call them your ifs and your wins. Your ifs are your contract players. These are people that are your friends or are in your life if a certain condition is met. If you give them money, if you, and it's not always bad. It might be if you stay sober, if you go to meetings, if you do this. You have to meet this condition for them to be in your life. The if you stay sober part, I understand that, but your franchise player is not going to say if you stay sober because they know that you can. They're going to say when. Right there, to me, when somebody says if, they're already speaking negativity over your life because they don't think that you can do it. Your franchise players will be like, when you continue, when you reach 6 months sobriety, they know that you can do it. Your franchise players are the people that you've seen their kids grow up. You were invited to their weddings. You think about them on birthdays, holidays. You can pick up the phone anytime and call them, and it's not an issue. It could be 3 o'clock in the morning or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It's not an issue. You can go to them with your problems, and they're not going to bring up your past, and they're not going to judge you. If you've made decisions in the past that were bad, they might remind you, okay, well, before you did this and this, and you kept on getting the same outcome. They're going to be real with you. And they're not going to, like I said, they're not going to hold the past against you. You know, these people you can talk, you can receive a phone call from anyone, and they're not going to be like judging you. You can talk about whatever on the phone in front of them, and they're there for you. They were there in the past. They're there now. A franchise player in sports is someone that you can build your team around. A franchise player in life, to me, is someone that you can build your life around. They're going to hold you accountable, and they help you. They help, like one person has to help another person up. Sometimes you might be down, they're the person that's reaching that back and helping you, or it might go vice versa. But a franchise player is in your life forever.
Amazing advice, Norma. I cannot thank you enough. Cheryl, I know that you are a franchise player in my life for sure. And I just thank you so much for all of your entertainment and support over the years.
Right back at you, Markette, indeed.
Oh, and Norma, you have been such a great addition to Glowstream TV. I want to encourage everyone to check out your blogs. They are deep, they are meaningful and impactful. And whether you're in recovery or not, Cheryl and Norma, I think everybody can get something from these writings.
Thank you.
Yes, they're very inspiring, very uplifting. And I would tell the Glowstream fam to make sure they come and check things out on glowstreamtv.com. Like, as you would say, Markette, subscribe, check out all the blogs, check out Norma's blog, check out my reviews. I'll have one coming up shortly on a new movie.
I love it. Yeah, every time you post a new review, Cheryl, it gets tons of hits. People want that entertainment. And on Glow, we're not going to bring you down. We're going to lift you up. So the entertainment is inspirational, it's aspirational. And just like I started this program, Glow is all about inspiring you to take action and live a better life. And what you're taking in on your social media, on your TV screens, on your computer screens, all of that affects your mentality, right? So just know that when you go to glowstreamtv.com, you read Norma's blog, you read Cheryl's entertainment reports, you read some of my reports, you're going to feel better after. You're going to have a stronger sense of self because it's all written with that intent. And on that note, I just want to thank Norma, Cheryl, all of the Glowstream TV family out there listening and contributing with your likes and your comments and your support. Make sure that you continue throughout this holiday season and every season of your life to not just go through life, but really glow through life. And on that note, I'd like to leave you with a song that I wrote for my upcoming family music album. It's performed by Magda Gavlik, and it's composed by Paul Gavlik, who is also my producing partner on the album. The song is called What is the Light, and it's based on my best-selling children's book, What is Light? Enjoy the music, and I hope it makes you glow through the rest of your day.
Light can be many things, such as the brightness our sun brings. The twinkle of a faraway star and the buzzing of a firefly captured in a jar. What is the light? What is the light that can be seen around you? It can be found. What is the light in everything that you do? What is the light? What is the light that can be seen around you? It can be found. What is the light in everything that you do? And that feeling that you let it go, the spark in your eyes is like a glow. The bright green leaf floating in the wind, a smile on your face when you see a friend. What is the light? What is the light that can be seen around you? It can be found. What is the light in everything that you do? What is the light? What is the light that can be seen around you? It can be found. What is the light in everything that you do? Oh, light can be so many things. A mother's love, a turtle dove, a colorful butterfly flapping its wings. What is the light that can be seen around you? It can be found in everything that you do. What is the light that can